So, will technology actually end up replacing real estate agents? In this video, we're gonna go over a couple things pointing to why things could change in our industry, and then I'm gonna ultimately break down what I think, if it's going to happen, if it's not going to happen, and if it does happen, how much time we actually have left before the robots take over. Let's dive into it. So, technology, it's growing and it's growing at a rapid pace. Think about it. Think about all the cars that you see on the road now that might not even be driven by a real driver. Every time I see a Tesla drive by, I wonder if the person is actually driving it or if the software is driving that car down the road and the person's playing a video game on their phone app, or if they're doing something completely different than paying attention to the road. Now, Tesla cars are, 3 steps ahead of the game, but this kind of stuff is coming. And if you're in an industry like, say, driving a truck, or if you're in the transportation industry, you have these things to worry about because you're wondering like, hey, are robot cars going to take my job? Are 18-wheelers on the highway going to be driven by artificial intelligence? Like, what's going to happen in the future? As agents, we have those same exact thoughts. We wonder, are these big tech companies coming in going to take our jobs? Are we no longer going to be able to sell real estate as a business? Like, what's going to happen in the future? And these are all real concerns that we all have every single day. Now, what I want to do is I want to break down a couple of different thoughts that I have about this and then break down the probability of this actually happening. And if it does happen, how long do we really have before it starts taking place? So first of all, I want to talk about some of the things that are happening right now in our industry that could be a threat. The biggest thing is the tech companies are coming in and they're trying to gobble up market share, right? We all know this is happening. We can see it happening. They're playing with the commission structures. They're doing all kinds of creative things to hopefully win over the consumers and pull them away from the individual agents that are out there trying to make a career and trying to help people. This is probably the biggest threat that we face short term in our industry. And the reason that it's a threat is because it's not necessarily artificial intelligence that's going to take over, but it is technology and it's big money funding these companies. And big money has the ability to win over the hearts and minds of the consumer. And once they start recognizing those companies as the authority figure, it's going to be really hard for us as individual agents and independent contractors to compete with those companies at a high level. You see, big companies and big tech companies, they don't operate the same way we do. Because as individual agents, we have small budgets compared to these multi-million-dollar corporations. And here's why. A lot of these companies are publicly traded, and that basically means that they're being backed and they're able to sell shares of their company to raise capital. And a lot of these companies don't even make a profit. So as an independent contractor, someone like you or me, how do we compete with that, right? Well, the way we compete with that is we get involved with our community and build real relationships, because this is the biggest purchase someone's going to make in their entire life, in most cases, and they want to do it with someone that they know, like, and trust, that they know is going to take care of them, and they know is going to look after the best interest. So that's how you can win as a small independent contractor or a small team or a small brokerage, facing these big giant companies. The challenge becomes is over time, the consumer starts to realize and see these companies as the authority figure. So when they go to say, hey, my house is worth X, you ask them, how did you find out that price? They're like, oh, I found it on this website. Well, that's a little bit of a problem because now they're seeing them as the authority figure and they're trusting those big companies over you as the small agent. In the short term, I don't think it's going to be a big problem. In the long term, I think we might see some changes to our industry, but I don't think the industry is going to go away, right? Because here's the thing, there are other industries that artificial intelligence and tech companies are going to be able to tap into at a higher rate and an easier rate. But real estate is a little different because real estate is an industry that has so many moving pieces and the person wants someone that they trust and they're very nervous about the transaction. The average person only does this a couple times in their life. It's not something that's done on a daily basis that people are familiar with and comfortable with. So transacting on such a big purchase, there are a lot of, skeletons in the closet per se that can come out and bite them during a transaction. And most people realize that. So even in the most hot real estate markets where agents don't have to be, that skilled to sell a house per se, they're still using agents and they're still conducting business with agents because they want the property process and the home selling process or the home buying process to go smooth. And that's where our value comes in as agents. Now, here's what could happen, and this is how it could actually hurt us. So when these big companies start to get more and more market share, what could end up happening is they can start messing with the compensation models, where it simply becomes not as profitable to be a real estate agent. And if you have a team, it might be even less profitable because you're only taking a certain percentage of that profit. So it could end up hurting you long term. And when these companies come up with these, interesting, compensation plans, just remember that they don't really even have to make a profit in the short term. They can hold off, a couple of years before they start making a profit. So for them, introducing these kind of compensation models is easy compared to someone like you or myself as a small independent contractor that's out there trying to make this happen to start doing those kind of compensation plans. So commission compression is a real concern for our industry. And as time goes on, I think we're going to start to see more and more of that. Another concern is, these platforms and programs might start offering a solution to agents where they say, hey, come work for us. We're going to provide you leads. We're going to provide you clients. And all you have to do is sign up. And, we're going to pay you a $20 an hour salary. And a lot of agents will gravitate towards that because they don't want to invest the time to learn how to prospect and become a six-figure agent. And these companies will swoop those agents up, and then they'll be able to maybe introduce a compensation plan for the owners and buyers that is more attractive than independent agents can offer. So it could damage us a lot as solo independent agents that prospect and make things happen. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I do think that that could eventually happen in the future. But I think it's probably about 5 or 10 years out if that does happen. Now, there's no guarantee that it's going to happen. But my point is I don't think being a real estate agent or the real estate agent career is going to go away anytime soon, if at all. But I do see some changes that could possibly come down the road from these big tech giants that are trying to get into our space and shake things around. Hopefully this video has been optimistic for you. Overall, I think the best way to combat this as a whole is to get involved with the community, build real relationships with homeowners that see you as the go-to expert that you provide value to on a weekly basis, whether that's through a newsletter, a YouTube channel. You want to be out there, you want to be the face of your local community, and you want to be the person that people go to when they have real estate questions, right? You don't want them going to these big tech platforms and getting their questions answered. You want to be the person that they turn to. And if you can accomplish that, then you have nothing to worry about. You have a long-term career ahead of you. And even if things start happening and the industry gets disrupted, you're going to be on solid ground and you'll be much less likely to be impacted when this does happen. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts about the industry? What changes do you think are going to happen going forward? Drop them in the comment section below. I would love to hear your feedback on it. And if you like this video, definitely share it with a friend, hit the like button, and subscribe for more weekly real estate content to help you grow your own real estate empire. Thanks so much, and you have an awesome day.